Hello, I'm Owen with Common Motor, and this is my vintage Honda. This is a 1974 Honda CB450K7. It's the love of my life. Yeah, I got this bike with the help of Common Motor. This was not my first bike though. So the first bike I found on Craigslist. It was a barn find. I drove an hour one way to get it, and I was so thrilled. I was so proud of myself. It looked beat up in my personal opinion, and I was like, yeah, I think I can work on this. I was looking for a project, something to, fill my time with. So got it up to the Common Motor shop to show off my new find, and Brendan took one look and just laughed at me and said, no, it's going a new direction. Hindsight, it's still sitting there deteriorating. I think we've maybe gotten a few bolts off it for parts. I like to call that one the mummy. Yeah, so this is my Eleanor, as I like to call her. She came from a gentleman up in New York. Hadn't been ridden in a long time. Had been sitting in the garage, kept inside, so wasn't a rust bucket by any means, but just needed some tender loving care. I went with the 450 because while I had never ridden a bike before, I did do a lot of research on what kind of bikes are good to start off with, if you're a little bit more experienced rider, and I wanted something I could grow into. So I didn't want to get something too small, not too big, something just right. And after a lot of research, I decided the 450 was my right size, and I do not regret that decision. It was a perfect size bike to start off on, and I've been riding for several years now, and it's still a great size. Alright, so here's what I've fixed on this bike. I've redone the front brakes, rebuilt the front forks, put in a different headlamp, replaced the turn signal caps. I've also replaced the shifter a couple times, redone the brake cable, new brake cable, rebuilt the master cylinder, new side mirrors. I've had to JB weld the starter cover a couple times as well. Carb seals, points, spark plugs, back shocks, drive chain, back brakes, and handlebars. And as well, I've also replaced the bolts on the front and the side, or both sides, with Allen bolts. And I've also replaced all the fuel lines. Oh, and the battery. One of the first things I switched out on this bike was the headlamp. So I wanted something a little brighter for safety reasons. And so with these bikes, they use a 35-watt bulb. So you need something that's not going to overcharge the system or overdraw the system. So I got the H4 halogen light in here, which is perfect because it's a lot brighter. And of course, it does not overwhelm the charging system. One of the really only modifications style-wise that I put on this bike was the handlebars. These originally came with the Super Sport style, which is a lot higher up, which is nice as it's a lot more comfortable, and it does give you a lot of stability, but it just didn't have the look that I wanted. I wanted something a little more sporty looking, but yet I wanted it to be comfortable and also have the control that I wanted. So I didn't go with clip-ons, so this was that nice happy medium. It's right in between the two, I find. Still have the control, it's comfortable. It was an easy modification to put on there and switch everything out. And for good measure, putting on the cables, I used some stainless steel zip ties to blend it all in. This isn't really a modification, but I live in an apartment complex, and so I'm always kind of in fear of my bike, you know, disappearing one of these days. And so apart from doing a little alarm clip on the tire, I also put one of these in my seat. I put a little Bluetooth GPS tracker. This is called a Tile. You can get these online for pretty cheap. This is a really thin one, so it fits perfectly in your little document slot right underneath your seat here. And the battery lasts for about a year. I think these, cost 20 bucks. Definitely worth it. Good peace of mind. So if your bike ever does go missing, you at least have some way to recover it. Some of those real-time GPS trackers are just really expensive. A lot of time they have a monthly fee on top of it. This, you can just buy it once. When it dies, you just order another one, slip it in. Like I said, it's less than 50 bucks. So definitely just an added piece of security, to give you peace of mind. Alright, so the Stator cover here, I've had to JB welded about 3 different times now. So what a lot of people don't know with the 450 is the metal on these covers is actually pretty thin. And so if you ever drop your bike gently on the ground onto this side, onto the left side, the shifter here, when it gets into the ground, will be pushed up and it gets right up against that metal, and if it gets a little too much pressure, it just pokes a little hole in there. I poked a hole about 3 times in this, so JB welded it about 3 times. I've tried to find a replacement of these and they're a little tricky to find. I used to live on a steep driveway and I would try and kickstart it on a hill, and that was just, bad balance. Yeah, so a couple things I do want to do to this bike still is I want to replace the fork shoes, so it just pretties it up a little bit. And I do want to put the new Shockwave point system on this bike. I think that'll be a good upgrade as far as reliability goes. And one of the big things I want to do is, once I get that done, is take this baby through the hill country, going out to Austin or San Antonio, here in Texas, just going up and down the hills on a nice warm fall day. Alright, and that's my brown beauty Eleanor, 1974 CB450K7. Be sure to follow Common Motor on both Facebook and Instagram, as well as sign up for their newsletter and subscribe to their YouTube channel. Peace.